Today, I want to talk about a project that I worked on for myself that I ended up releasing to a larger group. And it's something I'm really proud of, and I want to show it off and give you a little bit of details about how it came about. So I'm not sure if you're all familiar with the Last FM service, but what it does is it scrobbles is what they call it. And scrobbling is when the Last FM website tracks the music that you listen to and automatically adds it to your profile. So this is my profile up on the screen here, and I've been using this service for almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in April, and there's not that many websites that I was using 20 years ago that are still around. It's kind of remarkable, but one thing that I found even way back when is that my data's always been a mess, and I think it's inevitable, but it's really hard to standardize on how people are providing the information to the service. So the problem is that data from many different sources is different. So I've been using this from the days of ripped and tagged MP3s through dark playing of CDs through a dozen or so different streaming services. And so the actual information being logged is just rife with errors and variations, which makes the data and all the charts and all the cool visualizations that the community makes fundamentally wrong. So I just want to show you one of the, kind of cool things that people make is, here's somebody made a word cloud kind of chart, which visualizes the number of times that you've listened to an artist. And fundamentally, if the data behind any of these charts is inaccurate, the chart itself is inaccurate. And I'm going to show you something later on about the Allman Brothers band that I found. You can see they're kind of one of my bigger artists here. So the Last FM site, if you have a pro account, you can go in and you can edit the Scrobble data to correct these things, but it's really hard to find them and fix them. You have to rely on just spotting them or putting on your Sherlock Holmes cap and start trying to find them. I'm going to go back just to my chart here, and this is just the stuff that I've listened to today, and it's just kind of a variation of things. But here's a couple of compilations and different versions and remasters of things, and all of those things are things that I want to take out. So Physical Graffiti, the deluxe edition, is just physical graffiti, and so if you don't change that information, all your listens will get split between the standard edition and the deluxe edition and all the different remasters and things like that. I've been cleaning up these errors as I found them for years, but I always suspected that there were just so many that I never saw, and I thought it would be great to be able to search for them somehow so you could really see what needed correcting. The developer community for Last.fm is amazing, and people build amazing things, and so I was surprised that no one had built something that actually looked at your data and identified issues. And so while I've always understood the problem, I'm not a coder. I didn't have the coding skills to actually build it myself. I'm a technical person. I'm a problem solver. I do this kind of work. But I'm not a developer, and it always just needed that developer person to actually implement kind of the solution that I'm building in my head for 20 years. So now Claude AI is out, and other AI models I'm sure are adept at this sort of thing as well. But I've been using the Claude AI, and I'm really happy with it. So I realized that now maybe it can be built. Maybe I can actually develop this thing and turn it into something that's useful. So I started a project, and I collaborated with Claude on developing a tool to help identify and present these Last.fm Scrobble errors in a useful fashion so you can more easily clean them up. I started by fully documenting the problem. I went through, identified all the different data issues that I wanted to see. I provided 150,000 lines of sample data for us to go through. I described all the different issues and how I wanted them categorized and displayed. And then I let him loose and saw what he'd come up with. And we iterated a little bit. I encouraged him to ask questions, and he clarified some things. He got to work, and we basically spent, a full day tweaking the display, fixing some import issues, adjusting, adding to the types of variations that it recognized. What about this? Can we add this? We need to track this, that sort of thing. And after a day, I had a proof of concept. I thought, this is actually useful and it could work. And I released it. So I posted it to the Last.fm subreddit, and within a day I had like 150 upvotes and dozens of comments expressing appreciation and gratitude but also people were using it. I got feedback. I had a lot of questions. Some people had import issues that we hadn't anticipated. And so I also spent that first week using it, and I had developed some feedback of my own. So after about a week, Claude and I got to work and we released an updated version. We added the option to dismiss items from the list as you fix them, so you can see the numbers go down. And we added file persistence, so it remembers what you fixed when you come back to work on it some more. So the result is here. And this is Scrobble Analyzer. We went from a 20-year germ of an idea to a fully developed working release with time for people to use it, gather feedback, and in under 3 weeks, we have something that is released. It's available. The repo is on GitHub. The links to it, everything will be in the notes below. But in 3 weeks, we have something that people are actually using and are actually cleaning up their Last.fm data. I had it in mind that I was building it for me to solve a problem I was having, but I've been in this community for a long time, and I know that there's a lot of people that care about the data accuracy. Not everyone does, and this tool is not for everybody, but there are a lot of us who really do want this data to be accurate. And this is helping them. So I knew it would be useful. The feedback and response has been just tremendously rewarding and inspiring. Right now, I'm researching the Last.fm API and how it connects to other services like MusicBrainz. And eventually, we want to connect directly to Last.fm so you don't have to export your file, help you research and recommend what the proper fix is. It's all new to me, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. I do want to just kind of show you some of the issues that we identify and how prevalent they are. The interface we just tried to make as clean as and easy as we could and simple to use. We broke down the issues into these various issue types. So as you switch to artist variations, this really is just, these are all the same artists, but they show up differently within the Last.fm database. So I've got Derek and the Dominoes, and you can see here's Derek and the Dominoes and Derek ampersand the Dominoes. Different spellings, spacing. If you don't clean this stuff up, you'll see that the Scrobbles are split among different variations and not all collected. The Allman Brothers Band, the Allman Brothers Band, Allman Brothers Band. This one's super common. And if you look, Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones, Beach Boys, the Beach Boys. So this helps you go through and identify them. But what we also did is we provided a link directly to Last.fm to this variation so that when you click through, you can clean that up and make those changes and get to them really easy and identify them. Album variations is similar. A lot of times you'll see different remasters, remixes, things like that. And so, if you look here, I've got 7 different versions of the Joshua Tree in my collection. And there's 117 different listens over those 7 different versions that if I was to consolidate them, which I'll get around to doing eventually, all those will just be listed under the Joshua Tree. Track variations just takes that down one step further from the album and shows you the variations in the different songs that are on the Last.fm that you've listened to. In this case here, I've got 11 different versions of Statesboro Blues, and some of these are actually different. So, and a session outtake is a different version than the one that's on the album. Some of these are live, but a lot of these are really just variations of what's on the Fillmore East record. So they can be consolidated together and cleaned up a lot. Trouble No More's 10 different versions of this that the listens are spread out to, and 8 different versions of the weight from various things. It really can get messy. I hope this shows just how fragmented the data can be. One of the issues that I think is most helpful is things that are missing albums. And this one's tricky because there's no way to view these on the Last.fm site unless you look at each individual song, and then you can see that some of them don't have an album associated. I've logged a number of thousands and thousands of different songs, so there's just no way to get to these. But you can see here, I can look here and say now, okay, the Beatles, I've got 174 different tracks that I've listened to by the Beatles that do not have an album associated with them. And again, I have a link directly to the Last.fm site, so I can add the album data. And then in the last release we added, I realized I'm not going to be able to get to all these changes in one sitting. So we've added the option to dismiss these. And once you get to it, and it remembers that from its persistence that's built in. So I just did an update to my ARC browser and reloaded the file, and it remembers where I left off. And I can see I've got 145 things that I've dismissed since I updated this particular file. That's a really, really handy feature. But yeah, I mean, you can see again, 174 different songs that just do not have that album data. And the next one, compilations. I don't listen to greatest hits albums, so I like to push these back to the original release albums. If I listen to a mix or somebody else's playlist or things like that on these services, they'll sometimes pull from the greatest hits albums where I really want it identified to the original release. And so this just pulls things that we've identified are the common variations of these kind of compilations. So anthology, essential, best, greatest, that sort of thing. There are some ones that we miss or some that really are albums. People use gold a lot, but there's a lot of albums that have gold in the title. After the gold rush, Randall's gold, stuff like that. So it's not a perfect system, but it's getting better, and it really does help to surface these issues. You can see it's kind of a deceptive number, and we're going to work on this for the next version. The 2,778 issues doesn't really account for how many different variations there really are. So I might clean up one issue that could have affect 70 different listens. So that this is the tool that I built and with Claude's help, and it's free to use. It runs in your browser. There's nothing to communication with any server. You do have to export your file from Last.fm and load it up. It takes just a couple seconds. It's just been a wonderful process to build this and to make it available to the community. That I've been using stuff that other people have built for 20 years. It's good to give something back to that community. I do just want to also say that I can do this for you too. You probably don't need help with your Last.fm library, but maybe you have a need for some automation or systems integration challenges that you're facing in your business, things that should be easier but aren't. This process of documenting, building, testing, iterating, repeating, documenting, iterating. This is a repeatable process. I've been doing this for years with clients. It works, and I'm good at it, and I can help you. So if this is the kind of thing that you're looking for that maybe would help you run your business a little bit more efficiently, or a personal project that you're interested in, all the contact information is on the website, which is linked below, and contact me, and we'll figure it out together. Thanks for watching.